Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. Ignore those two cats behind the curtain. Yeah. Anyways, um, today I wanted to talk about. I watched the talk from that church I was telling you about that I used to attend here. I watched this past Sundays, and it really, really resonated with me because of what she talked about. The weird thing is, this woman and I started at this church several years ago, about the same time. I think I met her once and I've talked to her once. But I think now she's an ordained reverend, and she's still at that church. I was not consistent in going because I had a lot of chronic illnesses. I was ill at that time, mostly housebound. My biggest problem was ME/CFS, which really puts you out. Plus, I didn't have a car, so I had to rely on others to get me to church. So I didn't go consistently. And now I can't get there, well, because of my leg. So I'm watching it online. And as soon as I don't need the wheelchair to get long distances, I am going to go back to church. But, anyways, this woman talked about something that really means a lot to me. Um, I, I told you that my spiritual path really doesn't have a specific label, title. I enjoy any spiritual path that is earth based, based in nature. Now, when I was a Christian, we were constantly told you worship the Creator, not the creation. Now, this always bothered me because being an artist, um, I knew better. Because when somebody admires what I create, the feeling it gives me is it's a good one. And it's really amazing. And so I cannot um, understand how when all right now when I look out the window, I'm looking at woods, all these trees. It is so beautiful out there, and I admire it. And I do, in a sense, worship it, but I feel that when I worship nature and I'm giving gratitude, and I also especially give gratitude for nature's healing properties, because I told you my story. I was very sick for a long time with chronic illnesses. I got on the road and started living in nature, and I was healed. And I really attribute that to nature, which was created by our Creator. And when I look out there with adoration, because you wouldn't believe, I wish I could show you what I'm looking at. I did when I do my videos outside. You can see some of it. Um, I am worshiping my Creator. Okay. And also, my view is a little different, as in we are all co creators with the Creator. Anyways, this woman, she's very much like I am. She's into nature and she's into earthing. And she said so many things that were very similar to me. Okay, so the area that I'm in right now, the house I'm in, is about a mile and a half, just the next road over where I lived before I got on the road. And I have to tell you, this place, this area in Northeast Ohio is truly magical. The spiritual energy around here is, it's amazing. It is really amazing. And I think around the time she started attending the Church of the Angels, or maybe right after, just like me, she became attracted to the native culture's old spiritual path. When you are into nature, it is quite a draw. It's fascinating. And what happened with me, I love nature so much, I have to be surrounded by animals all the time. Anyways, I get complaints from my family. Well, now we can't do things because you got all these animals. Anyways, um, what happened with me is that house I was living on the next road over, I made a friend. who is in spirit. And he's a Native American, and he lived in this area in the 1600s, and he loves it here so much that he hangs out here a lot. And if you could see what it's like here and feel the energy, you would see why he loved it so much and why he still does. The first time I saw him, I was in my kitchen smudging myself because I wasn't feeling good. And I'm standing by my back door looking out, and I see, well, this man walking. Then he walked behind the evergreen tree, up the driveway. Our driveway circled around, and he walked, and he went behind, and he never came out the other side to go back to the barn. Nothing. So I'm like, oh, it's a spirit. And so then I found out he's a Native American from the 1600s. And I've had many experiences with the Native culture. They're just playing, don't worry. One of them, when you're sleeping, a lot of times you have visits from spirits. Now, my mother just told me yesterday she had a dream. She said a dream. She doesn't understand that it was more than a dream about her mother, my grandmother. Now, I know, based on what my mother told me, that it wasn't a dream. It was very specific, very real, and conversation made sense, where a dream doesn't really always make sense. This was, and I was like, okay, she and Grandma had this conversation. At the beginning of my fascination with the Native culture, I had a dream visit from a shaman. I believe because you can have dream visits with those who are still incarnated, but he was incarnated in the past. And I remember sitting in his teepee was huge. I mean, bigger than one you've ever seen, in a museum or on TV. It was mammoth. It was like the mansion of teepees. So I'm like, this isn't the physical realm I'm thinking. And we were talking about me going out west, and he had a medicine wheel, a huge one, hanging in his teepee. And he says, you are going to get one like this when you go out west. Well, I thought he meant literally that I would get a physical. No, going out west and living in nature healed me. That was my medicine wheel. So what this talk, and I'm going to put the link of the talk in the comments for the Church of the Angels. She also is very attracted to the Native spiritual culture. And she talked about earthing, which is something I always did until, well, I fell. I think now if I bring my walker, if I go out in a wheelchair and then bring my walker out, I could probably go back to earthing. But it's to ground you. It's the best way to ground you, and you go barefoot. And I use visualization. I guess being an artist, when I pray or want to bring in an energy, I'm always using the visualization. I'm also a writer, but I tend to go more with the visualization. But you can do it any way you want. And then she talked about drum circles. Now I remember at this church, I think about once a month we had a drum circle, which I would go to occasionally when I was up to it, because when you have MECFS and then also being a psychic medium, you're very sensitive to noise, and the drumming actually didn't work for me in this case. In other cases it would have, but because of the MECFS, it didn't always. But anyways, she started talking about nature. And one of the things that resonated with me that she said was her love of this area. Now, the church, people from all over this larger area go to that church. She must be from this area specifically, because there is something about like Novelty in Newberry, Ohio. There's magic here. There's spiritual magic. If you are sensitive, you can feel it. And there's more to it. I mean, I've experienced some I mean, I think my psychic abilities were strongest when I was living over at that house a mile and a half away. Um, but it is magical here. And the funny thing that she said is she goes, my favorite place in nature is the West Woods. Now, those of you who have listened to my videos consistently have heard me mention the West Woods. I have done paintings of the West Woods. It is so magical. Now, I think her place, she has what she calls an angel tree there, where she sees an angel in the tree, and she painted it also. But there's something about these woods. It's like spirits are attracted there. Yeah, my son is saying we talked about this years ago when I was in the woods one time, when I was able to walk in the woods. About what's the draw there, the beauty of the nature there. Okay, yeah, but we talked about something else too. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there is. Yeah, my son's saying there's a certain energy there, and I feel it. Um, but anyways, she picks up on that too. And in the comments, I told her, I said, it's funny, the West Woods is also my spiritual sanctuary too. And I said, particularly Ansel's Cave, which is gorgeous. And right, as I'm walking to Ansel's Cave, about halfway there, there's this one particular place where I'm walking through it, and I will go into kind of like a different dimension. The colors, I mean, it's like emerald green here, but when I get into this area, it's the colors are even more intense, more vibrant. Is it? Yeah. I just asked my son because we had this talk years ago too, because my living room, male place, my kids always said was gloomy. And after my son died, he said it's much brighter in here after he died because it looks brighter. So it's more intense. It was more vibrant. And there was like this mist, like you see in movies or in fairy tales. I see a mist that's not of this realm. So not everybody's going to see it unless they're open to it. And it sparkles. It's gorgeous when I walk through there. And then for whatever reason, I'm not going to ask right now, my family and spirit, especially my children, well, they just have a blast there. They're like all over the place. And it's like being in a fairy tale to me, in a dream. And these woods are magical. They really are. And she talked about that. The West Woods is her favorite place in nature. And I've always said that about the West Woods for myself. And then even better, my son and daughter-in-law got married in the West Woods. Oh my God, the most beautiful wedding ceremony I have ever witnessed in my life was my son and daughter-in-law's out in the West Woods in October, and the leaves were at their peak. And you haven't seen leaves so gorgeous as when you are in this area of the country. You get to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New England, those are the areas where, wow, you get to peak season with the leaves, and it's amazing, which just adds to the magic. So, anyways, she talked about all these things, really resonated with me. And the healing power of nature and the drumming, the sound of the drumming, because when you get that certain resonance, it has a healing effect on you. And she did this ritual, called the grief ritual, which I thought, wow, for her to do that this week, because in 2 days will be the 9th anniversary of when my son died. Mother's Day is difficult for me. And this year's is easier because my focus, well, it is on my ex-husband. His birthday's tomorrow, and then he's retiring this week, and the kids and I are planning a big to-do, and we're spoiling him rotten. I told him yesterday. So my focus is on that more, but usually this week is really hard. And I thought, wow, I'm listening to this talk, and she did it Sunday, and she's doing this grief ritual this week. And I was just amazed by that. And I'm kind of feeling this connection with this woman in what she had to say. Um, but my point is, when your focus is on the natural beauty of this planet, it gives you such a direct connection to our Creator. I don't need a building. I don't need a beautiful building. You know, I grew up Catholic. I grew up Catholic. That was Mr. Draco. Sirius is coming home tonight, which is going to make things more fun because Draco and Sirius get along too well, and they're very ornery together. Anyways, I'm going to be a wreck this week. Anyways, you have that direct connection. And growing up Catholic, we had beautiful churches. Buildings never did it for me. Being in the woods, being in nature, being in the desert, up in the mountains, that's what always did it for me. But there's something about these woods. She also sang a Native American song while doing this ritual. It's Cherokee. Yeah, I think we had Cherokee Indians here. Iroquois, Erie. Yeah. And I forgot what I was saying again. I hate when I do that. Oh, the song. And she sang it in Cherokee. And oh my God, it's so beautiful. I'm going to see if I can get the words to put them in the description. But anyways, in English, it is called I Am of the Great Spirit. So it is. Now, I've heard, you guys have heard me talk about how Source God is the original spirit. And we are all pieces part of the original spirit. We all come from the original spirit, Source God, who the natives typically call the Great Spirit. And this song, it's just wonderful because it's saying, I am of the Great Spirit. Because we are, and we all are. And if you open yourself up to the power of the Great Spirit, you will experience the beauty of these woods. I'm looking out at the woods right now. Or anywhere that you are out in nature, you can connect to the spiritual energy surrounding you there. And you will have that understanding that by you being in this natural sanctuary, you are connecting with God and you are worshiping God. I get such a surge of gratitude, appreciation, and love when I am out there and I'm looking at this beauty that our Creator created. It's true worship. When you have that connection, then you start to see your power that comes from the Creator. Because how can we not have this power if we are directly from the Great Spirit? So all of these things, we don't need the buildings. We don't need these man-made tools. I'm sure they are helpful in ways, and use them if they help you. But they're not actually necessary because God provided it all naturally. You go out into nature, you go in the woods or wherever. There's your church. There's your sanctuary already created by the Creator. For me, being in a building is like a blockage. I used to go to church all the time, and I would be in the church, and it was a blockage for me. Now, on rare occasions we had worship outside, it worked better for me. Because to me, the Great Spirit, Source God, is 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 natural, pure nature. And I tap into that healing power of nature, which is why I don't suffer from MECFS anymore. I don't have seizures anymore. Um, you know, a lot of those health problems that kept me housebound all those years ago are gone because I went and I got the best medicine ever. Medicine from the Great Spirit, our Creator, Source God. And that helped me. I had illnesses that, well, medical science doesn't understand at this moment, and they can't figure out how to heal. So I went out in nature. When you need to heal physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, go out there, ground yourself by earthing. Yeah, hug a tree if you have to. And show gratitude and appreciation for what the Creator created for us. Everything that the Great Spirit created on this planet has a purpose. And it's kind of like a circle. Okay, we all have a purpose, no matter what we are here on this planet. So you will get that healing energy. You will be connected to the Great Spirit directly. You will heal in all your aspects because we have more than just the physical body. Okay. And so you need that healing for all aspects of yourself. The only way to get that is from the source itself. Okay. So nature, you want to heal and you want to grow spiritually, you want to connect better with spirit. Nature is the key. So whenever you hear about, you know, things people say about nature-based religions or spiritual paths, that we worship the creation, not the creator, always remember, one, that's not true. That's not what's going on. And we know, we understand the healing powers and benefits of nature and who gave us that nature. Okay, so I'm going to put that link below. And remember, you are from the Great Spirit. Always remember that. So remember your power and your worth. I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.